right, with us, Lucky HOUDALAKIS. I'm at Summerfeld. Lucky's at the Vaal, and we're very grateful for your time after a hectic week at the sales. How did the sales treat you, Lux?
It was a very, very long week, and yeah, I must say they were very tough. But yeah, it looks promising for the industry.
Mia Fiore has run 2 consecutive thirds and maybe a little bit below par last time out. Are you quietly confident that going to 1450 for the first time will be what she needs?
Yeah, look, I haven't been able to find a race over that kind of trip, and well, I was struggling, and but her last start, I suppose you can pretty much put a line through it. There was that false start. She went a bit crazy in the pens. Yeah, it all went a bit pear shaped and sort of ran off her feet. But yeah, I found a nice 1400. She's cracked the plum draw one, and yeah, I'm expecting a big run from her.
2 fifths in a row. She must be better than what we see in her recent form.
Yes, no, definitely. The second last start that jumped, it was a funny run race. I mean, she basically got left behind. As you can see, she was like 12 lengths off and was a bit sticky. She never made it up. And her last start, again, she was sort of there and inside track. She didn't accelerate. And yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that, it was that inside track. It didn't really suit her. She's a big leggy filly. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure what her right trip is. So I've taken the bull by the horns, on a pedigree and just having a crack at the 2000. Hopefully I'm right. If I'm wrong, we'll have to revisit it. So yeah, other than that, I mean, she's, I suppose going with all these maidens, she's as good as all of them.
We trust your judgment. We know she'll be a fit filly. As we move on to Impersonation, we also had smatterings of good form, and I think the last run is also somewhat out of sorts.
Look, a last start, I was expecting a big run from her. I thought, that nice long vaal 16 would have suited her. And yeah, it was a bit disappointing. She sort of just plodded on, but she did come back. She was pretty fatigued and tired, and she was blowing very hard. So it was a hot day. I don't know if she cooked herself up, but yeah, it was a disappointing run, her last start. But she as well. I mean, I've had a family and they stay well. I've had to wait for her because she's quite a small filly. So, it looks like she's not really going to grow a hell of a lot more. So, yeah, I think she's done enough to have a crack at this trip.
David Shaw has got a lovely horse who's won himself 8 races, Duke of Sussex, and that after his run behind Infinite Wonder, he can get back onto a winning trail.
Yeah, I think like probably, his whole plan was the Grand Heritage, which we got it right. Yeah, and as you see, I mean, he's lost like 2 wins. They sort of jumped on him. They hammered him. Maybe we got a bit carried away with ourselves after that, But now you merit 100, you still got to look for those races. And for some rhyme or reason, I don't know why, at Turfentine somehow he doesn't accelerate. I don't know. At the Vaal with that long straight, he's always running on.
So he's a homeboy. He doesn't like getting on the float and traveling all the way to Turfentine. I mean, all his wins have been at the Vaal.
Yeah, look, I won't say that he doesn't like getting on the float and all that. He's a very, very quiet horse. He'll do anything you ask him to. But yeah, somehow, I don't know. They weren't the worst races. They didn't run bad races. You know what I mean? He's only beaten 4 or 5, 4 legs, running against strong horses. But yeah, I've given him a nice little rest. And, like sort of just backed off him. And I'm just playing with him. So he's not like all tuned up for this race. But somehow he loves racing fresh.
Excellent. Well, the same has to be said of Spin Doctor because he hasn't raced since the 27th of October last year, where he was victorious. Did you give him an intentional break, or did you just feel that he needed some sort of paddock time?
He's a funny little guy. We did pick up an issue after his first start, as you saw. He never ran for nearly a year after that. He bounced back and he did very well. And he won his last start. He was actually I think in the process of being like sort of sold, and I had to like hang back a bit and take him out of work, which didn't materialize. And in between, he did have a little niggle or two, nothing serious. So yeah, I basically got going with him again, and he's he's not an easy little guy to deal with, but he's also a bit of like his own worst enemy. But yeah, if he behaves himself, he's got a nice draw. Yeah, as I say, he could need it, and I still think yeah, that 1450. I'm not too sure. I've tried him over a bit further. He wasn't disgraced, but I still think he will go further to. But I think for now, where he is, this 1400, this 1450, yeah, will be a nice comeback run for him.